Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cracking the Code. Today, we're excited to have with us a familiar face and a good friend of the show, Pooya Mohit, former marketing director of Atlantic Sotheby's International Realty, owner of My Friend Marketing, and marketing client liaison at VOOV Group. But the spotlight today is on our very special guest, Jeanine Corcoran. To give you some background on just how incredible Jeanine is, she's the founder and broker of Corcoran Connect, a leading real estate firm based in St. Cloud, Florida. With over 2 decades of experience in the industry, Jeanine has built more than a business. She's built a brand rooted in authenticity, connection, and community. One of her standouts initiative is the Business Spotlight video series, where she highlights local entrepreneurs and showcases what makes her community so special. But this isn't about just feel-good content. It's a smart business move. Jeanine's content builds trust, boosts visibility, and delivers real results. And like any savvy entrepreneur, she understands the power of delegation. With the support of a virtual assistant, she constantly produces and manages her growing media presence, all while staying active in the field. Today, we'll dive into Jeanine's approach to community-based marketing, explore the content strategy that sets her apart, and cover a range of valuable insights you can apply to your own business. So without further ado, Pooya, Jeanine, the stage is all yours.
All right, and thank you for that introduction, Sergio. And again, thank you very much, Jeanine, for joining us on Cracking the Code. We're really excited to have you. So let's jump right into things. You've built more than just a real estate business. You've really built a brand that stands out. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey in the Corcoran Connect that's become such a recognizable name in Florida?
Absolutely. So, well, first it helps that I have the last name Corcoran because, as you know, my sister's Barbara Corcoran. So I've been in real estate since 2005 and opened the business in 2011. Again, against the advice of my sister. She wanted me to go work in a real estate office as a manager to get the feel for things. But I'm a firm believer in learning as you go along. So I jumped in with 2 feet first. Didn't know what the heck I was doing as far as, running a brokerage. Of course, I knew real estate. And that's how we all got started.
That's awesome. And you've grown tremendously in that period of time. And it's lovely to see some of the unique things that you've done to kind of get your name out there, which is kind of where I want to take this conversation, because you do something particularly unique to connect with the community and to kind of bring a different type of marketing to your brand. So I want to hear a little bit about your Business Spotlight series, because it's really a brilliant marketing play that you've done. Doesn't really feel like marketing. It feels a little bit like you're watching TV or just getting to know about something on the internet. So what kind of inspired you to create that series? And can you give us some of that feedback on how that's maybe elevated your business?
Yeah, so I think a lot of mistakes that are made by brokers or real estate agents are they're just very narrow on the road to it's only real estate, but real estate is a relationship business. So I do Business Spotlight with local businesses. It helps them because most businesses, small businesses, restaurants, they don't have they might have social media, but they don't have a presence as far as video. So it gives us a great opportunity, one, to get to know all the business owners in the area that we are in, but it also just, allows them to, be noticed more, because we post it not only on our social, we ask them to post it on theirs. And then, of course, it was on YouTube. So it's worked out really well. And it's great to just get to know other business owners and things like that, so.
That's really great. And it kind of gets back to the essence of real estate, right? You're a person that has your pulse on the community. And that's really what allows you to provide that excellent service on both sides, buyer, seller, or maybe even investor. So I think this is a really great way and a unique way to get your finger on the pulse of the community in a very natural, organic way. Do you perchance have any notable wins or significant stories that have come from that particular series that have maybe generated something outside of just that Business Spotlight that you want to keep?
Interesting enough, we have now I'm going to say the name wrong. Cape Cottage, sorry, and it's in our next plaza to our office. And we always like to go over to that plaza to get lunch and things like that. Like there's a couple of different eateries over there. But her in particular, the owner, when she started, basically she was just starting. She didn't have much social at all. But now like she has blown up tremendously, but it's just so heartwarming to every time we walk over that plaza, she'll come out, she'll be like, Jeanine, like, you know what I mean? Like just because we have that relationship now. And then it's always fun too, when we're in the office and agents are here, we'll say, oh, let's run over to the Key Cottage and get some cookies or stuff like that. But yeah, so it's kind of neat.
That's amazing. So would you say, so, we mentioned it a little bit that, sometimes broker owners or even, top professionals get lost in the weeds a little bit about getting too centralized and linear with their real estate marketing. And you're saying authenticity really kind of helps create those connections. Talking a little bit about that authenticity and bringing some value to reputation. How have you seen that like community business spotlight really change your reputation maybe or improve it in the community?
I do, because not only when those business spotlights are done, like we share them on other platforms that are community driven. So like in St. Cloud, there are several platforms that on Facebook, for instance, that are just very specific to the community of St. Cloud. So rather than always being the person on social, on Facebook that might, oh, hey, I have this house for sale. Look at my video, this and that, because that's what you see all the time. We're bringing hey, have any of you tried this great restaurant? Here's a video to the restaurant. And, it's been great. You know what I mean? And then we also have a podcast for St. Cloud that, we'll mention different restaurants and things like that. And people love it. I mean, and again, it's just being the community leader versus they know you're in real estate, but you're not asking for the business. But most of the time, they do call you because they know you have a pulse on everything that's going on.
I love, and you talk about something that we as marketers always like to emphasize, and it's marketing to the full life cycle and not just the segment. And you're really nailing that on the head, I think, is by saying, you kind of said it beautifully. We're not just saying, hey, I got another open house, another house for sale, check me out, or I sold this. It's very limited in view. You're only appealing to that buyer seller in that little window that they're buying or selling or thinking of. And otherwise, you're not really providing any value to them, right? There's not much to keep your content in front of them. But if you diversify your content, you're providing community value. They may follow you for a little bit longer until that cycle comes back. They're in the mindset of buying and selling. And now you've retained your clientele, you've retained that sphere for yourself. So that's such a beautiful execution of that play of kind of observing the whole.
I don't know, like a lot, hopefully experienced agents know this, but people are thinking of moving at least a year before. A year. It's not just wake up one night and go, unless of course they have a job transfer. That does happen, but that's not the majority. But people are searching a long time before they're even thinking about it. They're just like, wouldn't it be nice to live in wherever? And they start, they do a lot of their searching as a buyer. So that's great for us because they might go into, let's use St. Cloud as an instance where one of our offices is, they might Google, what's it like to live in St. Cloud? Or what's going on in St. Cloud? And then our videos come up. And then they go, oh, this person's showing up a lot. And he's like, oh, let me see. Oh, they're a real estate brokerage. It's like a whole spider web, so it's kind of neat.
That is excellent. And you're right. There is that intent that starts so far in advance. And by being there, and constantly being there in a very passive way, you stay palatable and you kind of capture those eyeballs until they're ready to roll over into their actual transaction cycle. But what they always say is, if you're usually the one providing the expert information and guidance in advance, the likelihood of them just moving forward with you as the actual service provider is also too. Because we know that we put our content out there, right? And, a lot of people see and maybe learn from it. And then the fear is, oh, am I going to lose this? Well, it seems like you found out the strategy of providing that value as a connector, and then also being able to convert that into a transaction a little bit down the road, which is awesome. That's the goal we all have. Tell me a little bit about that, being a connector to you and your community. What are some of the things that being a connector really mean? Not just a real estate agent, but being that community professional, community leader, or connector?
No, that's a great point. So, our assistant Lorraine, who answers the phone, sometimes she says she feels like we're the HOA because our phone rings with just questions like, how do I rent the pavilion? Or, how do I, but we laugh because we know the answers, right? Because we're totally connected. Or, where's the best school for my child to go? And this is his learning disability or things like that. And then I'll say, you know what? I say, I actually have someone that has a son that's in the same particular, as your son. And they chose this school for whatever reason. But rather than me tell you that, let me connect you with that person to make you feel more comfortable, So it's kind of neat. It's just like we keep a very detailed list of our vendors, and we always tell people, we are your concierge real estate agency. Just come to us. We have the answers. We have the people. We could connect you with vendors, with roofers, with, whatever you need. But yeah, it's constantly gathering that information and keeping it in one place so that we do have the answers. So,
That's, you hear that, listeners? Pay attention and make sure to make a footnote on that. If you become the switchboard for all real estate information, you become the go-to brokerage. So take that advice, become that switchboard, because having those calls come in for the rentals, how do I do this? How do I do that? Becomes a wonderful opportunity for you to put your micro pitch out there and become the actual transactional agent. That's wonderful. I really, really like that. And I think I might actually start incorporating that in some of the things I say to people.
Yeah, it was interesting. I've had, someone close in the business that said to me, they listened to a phone call and it was about a rental, and little questions and whatnot. But, I sat there, I took the time. I was on the phone for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And when I got off, he looked at me, he says, why do you do that? You don't even deal with that. Why do you talk to them? And I said, because, I'm like the go-to, we're the go-to here. All of our agents is like, it doesn't matter what they want. It really doesn't. I mean, of course, our business is real estate, but it's not. It's about helping all those people that aren't in the real estate game at the moment, but you help them so much that when they are ready, they call you. They do. They call you.
That's beautiful. You have a true service mindset. And I think that's what's helped make you such a standout professional within the industry and your community, is that mindset of service first. And then I think it was Walt Disney said it, he had something that he said, you build it, you imagine it, invest yourself in it, and then the people will pay you back. But you can't go in with the mindset of the reward. You go in with the mindset of executing that service, and then the reward will come. That's amazing. So this is probably the thought now. We've talked a little about some strategy, the business series, and the key thing here is time. And I'm sure everybody that's watching is like, how would I do this? How would I execute the contract strategy? How do I stay consistent? Who's going to support me in doing this? So give us a little bit of the peek behind the scenes of maybe having structured this series to be sustainable, and has there been other players that have played a role in helping you execute these strategies?
Yeah. So in our business, and we have the 2 offices, just under 30 agents. There are probably 5 key people that are important to make the wheels turn, because, I'm only one person. I can't do it by myself. And everyone plays a key part. So for instance, Lorraine, who takes care of our agents in the office, she's the glue in the office, especially if I'm out and about running around. And then we have our GC, who makes sure all of our transactions, that's Chris Vandersnell, and make sure our transactions get watched over so that when we do go into contracts, we're being compliant with the law and things like that. So that's her department. And then, of course, we have my partner, Bill Bokunik, and he came from marketing also. And so he's great at helping with the end of when we're thinking of what kind of advertising to do. And then, of course, right now we have Carlos, who's our VA through your company, and he's tremendous, which is great, because even Bill says, like, well, sometimes it's harder for Bill to come up with the idea. But if I give it to Carlos to get the idea, and then he gives me like the black and white, to look at, that's when Bill's wheels start turning, because it's like, oh, that's good, but let's do this, this, and this. And then they're both having a thing back and forth, and, but yeah, I mean, having Carlos for the social end of it, being able to be in our account and post and things like that. I think right now we're running a Mother's Day contest that he arranged. And, so having all those people do what they do best in their wheelhouse is tremendous to make things. I don't really know how other people do it. I don't even know how a top producer does it without having a full staff. It's just crazy.
It sounds like you got a well-oiled machine. Each person has their own role, their own ownership, and they've taken that credence to run with it a little bit. And I love to hear about the synergy. Keying in a little bit about, obviously, I'm going to be a little bit centered on the VA company side of things, and you bring it up. Tell us a little snapshot of maybe the top 3 things that Carlos really does for you that maybe other leaders and broker owners aren't necessarily thinking about in terms of the value of a VA.
So for us, it's I find that agents who are producing are busy. We know that. I know that. But he automatically gets notified from our MLS if they have a listing, a sale, anything like that. So he doesn't ask questions. He knows he's in our photo file. He knows how to, get everything. And at the moment he gets that notice, and he does it daily, he'll have the post ready for them. We post a little bit different on the company because you can imagine with having just under 30 agents, to post too much on our company Facebook page is a lot of noise. Stories aren't noise, of course, but posts are. So for a company standpoint, and this was a meeting Carlos and I had, we kind of condensed when all of our listings come out weekly into one post. But the agents, the good part, the agents love this, is he emails them their individual posts. And there are now 3 sizes in social. I still haven't figured out what that other size is for, but anyway. So he emails, the story side, the landscape side, and then now the square side size. And it was funny because when we get new agents or someone's, they're like, why does he send me 3 of the same thing? And I was like, well, if you look at them, there's not 3. One is for stories. One is for, there's different, but he does that automatically. So they love that about them. And then weekly, they have to let him know by I believe it's Thursday, whether they're doing open houses and stuff. And again, he posts our companies together because it's too much noise. He posts them individually on stories. That's fine. You get dump on stories all day long. People go through them so quick. But again, he does it for the agents individually, so they have their own posts. So they don't even think about that part. He just does it automatically. So that's been a real blessing because it's certainly not my wheelhouse. I mean, I can do it, but it's too many agents to worry about that. So he's right on top of that, which I love.
So that seems, not only does that seem like a great synergy and also workflow for just in terms of getting the listing materials out and the visibility both for your agents and, the seller clients, of course. But it seems like indirectly, it's also a great retention thing because you created this ecosystem where you're providing this, almost like a unexpected service and something that comes to them without them really needing to request anything or do any additional work. And meanwhile, they're getting the materials they need to move forward and better their business. So kudos to you on creating like a dual fold. Not only does it help the brokerage side, but it also helps the agent side in building their personal business, which I know all brokers, their number one way to help that retention is, you provide value and you provide them the wingspan, so to speak, to grow and really become their own powerhouses. So another thing that is really important that I think that you mentioned, King, is how you treated your marketing. I love this because it goes back to the authenticity you have. You are actually concerned about spamming your timeline. I very rarely hear people saying, I need to post more methodically and less of content that is not of extreme interest. And by finding these areas where you can consolidate, but that's still giving the agent the platform to really be able to post independently as often as they want, it really makes a nice workflow. So you check all the boxes. But I wanted to hone in on that because that's really important for us to think. Putting things on social media is equivalent to us standing on a street corner, holding a sign or speaking. So we have to be very mindful of what we're saying and what signs we're holding up at any given time. And oftentimes, not only could you risk not getting engagement, which is one, but the other greater issue that I think a lot of team leaders and broker owners should think about is you can start to become white noise. And that's the danger, because now your content will be looked over versus looked at.
Right. And that's why that was recognized on our social, because we were posting everyone's individual every time it's okay. You can imagine it's like, 10 houses a week. It's like, oh, just listen, you know what I mean? So it became white noise. So then we came up with a plan to like, okay, on this day, we'll post for show listing. And on this day, at the end of the week, we'll do what sold this week. On this day, we'll do all the open houses, but it's only one post. So people we don't become white noise. So that's exactly why that happened. Yeah.
Viewers, this is another great nugget. Viewers, make sure to footnote this one again. Look at your socials. Look at what your content is going out on every channel, and think about the conversation you're having with your audience, and put yourself in the shoes, just like you gave that example. Do you want to see this frequency of this post? Maybe I want more of this and less of that. It's up to you to decide. But making that decision and having a plan is wonderful, and kudos to you again for that. So maybe looking at things in a broader sense, looking at, being a team leader, a broker owner again, what are some of the ways that you think are the first steps to empower these agents to really help them grow and to help yourself grow by proxy? Like, what are some things you're doing to make yourself an incubator for agents to really want to come and be part of Corcoran Connect?
Yeah. So incubator, I like that word. I never thought of it like that, but I'm going to steal that word, incubator. So for us, we like to have our agents feel like they're family. Every agent has particular needs, whether they're seasoned or whether they're new. Of course, the new agents are in our training program, and it really goes down to basics with new agents. And that's when I love that the best, because we can kind of shape them to be successful. Now you have seasoned agents, and again, love the seasoned agents. They know what they're doing, but even the seasoned agents need help. So for those type of agents, I always offer like a one-on-one. So I have agents that I meet with once a week to work on whatever problems they are having. And then also we do a lot of events, celebration. Every quarter we celebrate our agents doing something together. We always celebrate the top 3 agents, but everyone's invited and they all come. Like we might go, we've gone axe throwing, bowling. I mean, we've done so many different escape rooms and things like that. And it's just to kind of just let go of real estate and just have fun with the people that you're with. So we love doing that.
So I feel a theme throughout everything. I think the core of your thing is being a human, being a well-rounded human. There's time for fun. There's time for fraternity. There's time for family, and there's time for community. By the way, I'm a real estate agent. So I think that's kind of a great way. You've put everything together. And as we wind down, I want to thank you again for joining us on Cracking the Code. I want to footnote again for everybody out there watching. Here's some of I would say here are our top 3. Number 1, authentic marketing. Get out there. Don't be so linear. She uses her business spotlight series. It's one unique way of doing it and not being linear. This by interviewing businesses in a free-form sense. Oh, and by the way, I'm a real estate agent, so that's great. Number 2, make sure to become that switchboard for the community. Do they have questions that are even anywhere in the realm of real estate? Hey, maybe that might not particular home I've listed right now or a deal I'm working. But if I can answer that question for you now, the likelihood of you picking up that phone and calling me again in the future when you need a buy or sell is greater. So become that switchboard. And then finally, the authenticity again, it comes down to get your content, be authentic, the content you put out there. And on the other side of the token, be authentic with your agents, right? Your play for retention is just to be a human. Say, hey, how's your day? How can I help you? Let me give you time for a one-on-one. Hey, let's go celebrate the successes that you guys have had, or maybe you're having some trouble. How can I help you better your business? And by the way, here's some nice little listing flow materials from our VA that you get, just kind of as part of the family. So I think did I do a good job?
Yeah, you did a great job. Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's the Jeanine Corcoran method. Definitely make sure everybody subscribe to that method. Without further ado, Jeanine, tell us how we could follow you and learn about your business charities and follow the Corcoran Connect.
So if you want anything as far as brokerage, I just started switching up my Instagram account, my personal, not my personal one, but my business, Jeanine Corcoran. It's Jeanine, right now it's Jeanine Corcoran _ Orlando. And then at Corcoran Connect, it's basically everything. So it's our last name and Connect, and it's at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. That's across the board the same way, and there's no different names for that. So that's pretty easy. But yeah, love to connect with anyone that wants any help, no matter what state you're in. Happy to help. I think I was meant to be a teacher in a different life.
Take her up on it, y'all. Take her up on it and get these nuggets of wisdom. And again, thank you so much, Jeanine, for your time. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And Sergio, we're kicking it back over to you.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of this incredible episode of Cracking the Code. A huge thank you to our amazing guest, Jeanine Corcoran, for sharing your journey, insights, and the inspiring work you're doing to uplift your community through real estate and content. And of course, a big shout out to Puya Mohit for helping lead such an engaging conversation and for always bringing the energy and the expertise to the table. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope you're walking away with fresh ideas and a renewed sense of motivation. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us so you never miss an episode. We got more inspiring guests and powerful conversations coming your way. So stay tuned and we'll see you the next time on Cracking the Code.